Search engines hold a lot of power. They are the gatekeepers to the internet content, not necessarily through their own effort, but mainly due to how people use them to conveniently find information. But this comes at a cost. Intentionally or not, search engines increasingly more often decide what you get to see and even what is allowed to say. What can we see when we compare Google's search results with those given by its competition?
Google is still manipulating search results.
Shapes much of how the world understands reality.
Dominates nearly 80% of online searches worldwide.
Changing our democracy.
Building this infrastructure of surveillance authoritarianism.
Previously, I compared Google's search results to DuckDuckGo, and some people weren't convinced.
Wow, so your whole life has been about bullshitting people.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Especially when it came to a controversial search term, is climate change a hoax, which Google blacklisted from its autocomplete function. Google was suspiciously ranking an article from NASA quite high, while DuckDuckGo ranked right-wing websites on top. At a first glance, we can already see the differences. While completely absent from Google's results, DuckDuckGo ranks climate change denying websites quite high, like Breitbart or globalclimatescam.com. Google, on the other hand, ranks NASA article on climate change as second, despite the fact it contains the word hoax not even once. But was this just DuckDuckGo's poor performance failing to differentiate scientific articles from political trolling? Well, here is Yahoo and Bing giving you results that are more similar to DuckDuckGo than Google. Both of these are multi-billion-dollar search engines with decades of search experience. The algorithm picked up this video quite well, but since then, Google has made a change. If you enter the same question into Google search now, you won't find the NASA article until you go to the second page. Don't get me wrong, it is not very fortunate to have conspiracy theory articles rank better than scientific ones, but we shouldn't expect search engines to make unilateral editing decisions on what is and isn't allowed to be listed in the search results just because the right answer happens to be poorly optimized for search engines. My main focus was to show that Google increasingly filters results that are not coming from established and mainstream sources. This is making the whole internet more centralized and concentrated. While Yahoo, Bing, and DuckDuckGo list articles arguing for the other side, you won't find them in Google. And as we'll see later, Google does seem to show preferential treatment in what websites it decides to list in the search results. But it hasn't always been the case. If you entered this exact same question in Google 4 years ago, you would see it in the autocomplete function and you would find these right-wing articles quite early. But then mainstream outlets came with reports bashing Google for promoting right-wing propaganda. This is the end for Google pretending to be a neutral platform. It simply can't go on pretending that it has no editorial responsibilities when it is delivering these kinds of results. What? But okay, maybe you would prefer a search engine that filters facts from trolling, rather than having to figure it out yourself all the time. But in that case, the lack of transparency is an issue. If Google mixes up organic search results with what they think is the right answer, we are surrendering our responsibility for our own thoughts to an algorithm controlled by a centralized corporation. And from that moment, the power dynamic between us as users and Google as a neutral platform changes dramatically. To evaluate Google's search results, I compared them with Bing, Yahoo, DuckDuckGo, and Startpage. To get as anonymous results as possible, I used separate Firefox profiles for Google, DuckDuckGo, and Bing. I turned off telemetry and Google Safe Browsing feature, and I set Firefox to never remember browser history. This should get rid of most of Google trackers planted on the device, which could have interfered with the results. To pull Yahoo results, I used Vivaldi with similar settings, and for Startpage, I used Tor Browser. Startpage lists Google results but more privately and without Google's trackers, and I only use it to double check whether I really get non-personalized Google results. I was not logged into any account and I didn't have any other browser open at the time of recording these search experiments. For each search engine, we are going to compare results from the first 2 pages only, as this is where the vast majority of clicks happen. For each search on Google, I connected from a different IP address in the United States and I restarted Firefox to wipe all browser data. This was done using NordVPN servers to make sure Google can't track my real location and personalize my results that way. I also used different US-based IP addresses for Bing, Yahoo and DuckDuckGo, and I restarted the browser for each search on them as well. If you are interested in using NordVPN yourself, you can go to nordvpn.org/thehatedone or use my coupon code TheHatedOne at the checkout to get 66% off. It helps out my channel a lot, so thank you in advance. For Startpage, IP addresses were randomly scattered around the world for each search, thanks to the anonymous Tor network. It would be interesting to observe if you get the same or different results than the ones shown here, so feel free to post them in the comments section. Google uses every bit of information about you to tweak and personalize your search experience, and it may show you significantly different results. The main goal of getting anonymous results from Google was to find the closest evidence that could suggest Google interferes with its search engine in a non-neutral way. Google has been a great search engine over the past years, and it used to be doing its job miles better than their competition. Google's autocomplete function acts more like an AI-enhanced safe space than an actually useful suggestion tool. Google is expansively blacklisting suggested words that normally appear in other search engines but might be offensive to associated persons. For example, apparently the only thing Google knows about Donald Trump is that he is president and not that he also might be an idiot or racist.
It's not me, it's them.
Strangely, Bing also removed these autocomplete suggestions. Google thinks Brett Kavanaugh is good, while Bing, Yahoo and DuckDuckGo all think he's a liar, but also innocent. It's the speech that seems to be a problem at Google, and it's dangerous because more than anything, this is hinting at what internal policies Google implements and stands for. Speech seems to be the biggest problem when you search for Hillary Clinton because Google removed everything. She can't even be good. Everything but an utter silence is offensive next to her name. Suggestions like criminal, liar, and corrupt might be a little harsh, but she is a public figure and doesn't deserve a preferential treatment. Not all Google autocomplete suggestions are tweaked, even if they might portray Google in a negative light. Maybe Google knows they don't have to care about these so much because they think people are not going to stop using Google anyway. The autocomplete function might steer people's searching intentions in different directions, but the results didn't remain untouched either. We only have time to go over a couple of examples, but feel free to do this experiment yourself. Let's say we want to find some news coverage or reports talking about instances when Google censors news. While Google pulls results that mostly focus on their cooperation with the Chinese government, Bing, Yahoo and DuckDuckGo show articles from a diverse range of sources. Most notably, Google filtered out articles from World Socialist website, The American Conservative, and Breitbart, all covering different instances of alleged Google censorship. The article from the World Socialist website describes sudden drops in traffic to their website of up to 74% and how changes in Google's algorithm affect other left-wing websites like Democracy Now! And Alternet. Only established media organizations get to be present on Google, while the other 3 engines show articles from the Daily Caller, Russia Today, and even InfoWars. Double-checking with Startpage shows that I have successfully managed to pull these Google results without personalization. If you find disappointment in mainstream media, and you want to see what new media sources and independent outlets have to say, you may try searching for progressive news. You will have a hard time finding them in Google unless you scroll down to the bottom of the page for suggestions in related searches. This is a very different approach than what Bing, Yahoo and DuckDuckGo do, all of whom list many progressive outlets, mainstream or independent, in a linear manner. Google makes you take extra steps and shows progressive websites in a limited space, rather than an endless continuation of organic search results. It might be useful in getting you to your desired website, but the choice of which websites get to be included in this list is entirely up to Google. For conservatives looking for independent conservative outlets, the journey is equally rough. In what should be organic results, Google actually shows a very limited number of conservative outlets and they mix them up with some random news coverage. If you scroll to the bottom of the first page, that's where you get a separate space with a list of conservative blogs and conservative news organizations as suggestions for a related search. But searching for neither of these suggestions is going to give you a linear ranking of conservative outlets. Instead, you get links to websites giving you their top 10 or top 50 lists of conservative sources. To pull these results from Google, this time I used Tor Browser that comes privacy pre-configured, running inside a virtual machine with its own VPN connection. Breitbart recently came with articles alleging Google is proclaiming itself to be the good censor. So I was interested in what we can find if we search for it. It seems like this is where Google shows a healthy dose of conservative blogs balanced by mainstream coverage. But Google won't show you results from InfoWars and Zero Hedge, while they are present on both Yahoo and Bing. On the other hand, articles from The Hill, Forbes and Daily Wire are missing on Bing, Yahoo and DuckDuckGo, while they are shown on Google. For our last sample, I searched for Google bias. Most of the results on Google are related to Trump, where 7 out of 10 results had Trump in the title. Bing, Yahoo and DuckDuckGo showed diverse results, most of them focused on different takes and coverage of alleged bias at Google in general. Far fewer results were related to Trump on these 3 search engines than Google. Is Google just working better than anyone else, or is the corporation behind it trying to say something? At this point, I don't know what the right answer is. These comparisons are not a proof that Google actively manipulated search results in these cases. Intent is the hardest thing to prove in court. Interference with search results is not just a problem at Google. On my last video on this topic, some people commented that they can't find 4chan on DuckDuckGo. I checked this with all 3 search engines and it seems to be true. While DuckDuckGo does show everything related to or talking about 4chan, it will not show a direct link to the 4chan website. Not even scrolling through the second page would show the 4chan website, while Google, Yahoo and Bing have no problem showing it as the top result. I don't know why DuckDuckGo would want to filter 4chan, but whether it was intentional or not, search engines can always get away with denying any wrongdoing. In some cases, like when people search for extremist content, Google admitted to actively manipulate search results and show ads that redirect people to the opposite side. The problem of this manipulation is that it gives Google a precedent to interfere with search results in any instance. They were not compelled by the government to do this, and they are not open about what they think constitutes an extremist content.
I'm here to talk about hate. Hate can be defined as anything. So how do we stop that?
But seeing how Google filters out InfoWars or the World Socialist website from its regular searches makes me arrive to one conclusion. The phrase "Google it" can no longer be considered as a reference to looking for real information. So what should you do if you want to avoid this? Start treating Google or any other search engine as a source itself, and thus never trust a single source. Use more than one search engine, preferably the ones that don't track you or personalize search results to fit your advertising profile. Use Startpage to pull Google results, and use DuckDuckGo to pull from Yahoo and Bing. The most private search engine currently out there is circs.me, so if that's what you're looking for, go for it. Please do these experiments yourself and comment them below what results you found yourself, even if they are personalized. This is a very helpful way to find out how Google actually functions, so that we can understand better how it delivers information to us. Leave a like and share this video to let Google algorithm know they should promote this video as well. Subscribe if you are new to this channel, and thank you for watching.